Hi people. I'm actually filming this the day before I fly to London. Moving to London tomorrow. Do I bring it up in every single video I've made thus far? Yes. Will I stop? I'm very happy you asked, and the answer to that is no. But today I wanted to make a video I was inspired to make by my dear friend, Queen. She sent me this post, which was like book recs based off of messages I've received from men. And she sent it to me and she was like, you need to do this with the messages that you get on Hinge. I don't know why, but like the messages that I get on Hinge should be studied. They should be part of a case study. What better way to honor the patriarchy by exposing the very inner workings of the male mind through a medium. Why am I speaking in tongues? I'm basically gonna give you book recommendations based off of unhinged Hinge messages that I receive on Hinge. I've compiled a few that I've received recently. I get some equally terrifying, equally hilarious messages on there. And I've compiled a bunch of books that just came off the top of my head. Now, for the most part, this is all gonna be like right off the cranium, my friends. Straight off the cranium, I'm just gonna look at the message that I got and then be like, right off the top of my head, this is what book this reminds me of. Also, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Livy and I make bookish videos. So if you giggle, if you kick your feet, stick around, subscribe for more videos like this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and begin. So this first message is from a gentleman who I did actually match with. And he said, if I saw you in public, I would immediately look away and avoid you. Right off the bat, I feel like we could engage in some funny banter. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Both Elspeth and Raven, they see each other, it's immediately, neither of them are particularly forward. Raven is also a very honest man, and Elspeth a very honest woman. And this is so true, King. If I were to see an attractive person, you know, on the subway, on the tube, on the street, this is how it would go down. I would go. That's about the extent of it. If you don't know what One Dark Window is about, it is about Elspeth, who has magic in a world where magic has been get the name of it. Illegalized. It's illegal to have magic in this world. She ends up teaming up with the captain of the guard, Raven Yu. Oh, whoops, another shadow daddy, okay? Love this book. I think this was a 4 stars. But yeah, Elspeth is the kind of girl where she would see Raven Yu and she just immediately be like, and pretend that she doesn't actually think about him all the time. Next one is from a gentleman named Oscar. I love this one. This one says, how the bugs look at me when I lift up the rock. And if you can see by the photo, it is a picture of me and 2 of my friends all staring into the mirror like this. But when he said that, it did make me giggle. It made me giggle. In terms of, if we're going along the lines of bug imagery, I'm gonna go with Wayward by Amelia Hart. Hey, didn't like this book. This book was about, basically had 3 storylines, 3 women from the same lineage who all lived in this little cottage, I think the UK. They all get treated terribly by men, which is, you know, also relevant to the Hinge connection. Are there good guys on Hinge? You know better than that. So in terms of the bug nature imagery, I'm gonna have to say Wayward. I think I gave this one like a 2 stars. If you like just slow, atmospheric reads that don't really lead anywhere nor really have a plot at all, I'm not saying it was a terrible book. The writing wasn't bad. Like, it's nice writing. There was just not really a story there. A little bit of witchiness, but nothing incredible and amazing. That's Wayward by Amelia Hart. Okay, and now this is a message from a gentleman named Oz. Oz, this is what he had to say. Pretty confident I'm the only man that can handle and appreciate all that woman that you got going on. P.S. You can stop deleting the app for now. As one of my prompts was, I delete the app every 2 to 3 weeks, which is true. I don't like this message. This message gives off possessive, not in the cool way. This gives off narcissist. This gives off I'm the only person that deserves you, and therefore you shall be mine. And who does that remind you of, ladies and gentlemen? That's gonna have to be A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Now, the difference is between Gentleman Oz on Hinge and Coriolanus Snow, I probably would. Period. I probably would. Actually, not even probably, I would. Tom Blythe, you all know how I feel about Tom Blythe. We don't have to talk about it any longer. But if you don't know what this is about, this is the backstory of Coriolanus Snow, who later becomes the president of Pan Am, and the great dictator, I guess, the main villain of the Hunger Games trilogy, which if you haven't heard of, that's kind of embarrassing, actually. We don't like a man that thinks that he's the only person that can handle all that woman. Coriolanus Snow thought this about Lucy Gray. If I was Lucy Gray, hey, sue me. Sue me, because I would give him a chance. I could fix him though, and I still believe that, and I'll say that until the day that I die. See all these tabs? That's me trying to convince myself that he's actually a good guy. Will it even matter in the long run? Because does he exist? No. But evidently on Hinge he does. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Okay, now this is one of my favorite messages in this list. This is from a gentleman named, I want to say it's pronounced Alistair, but it's Alice Dare is how it's spelled. So as you can see, one of my prompts is, what's a special talent of yours that you want people to know about? And I put morphing into a werewolf during a full moon. This gentleman replied, literally redacted me ngara with a bunch of emojis. This made me gaff. This made me gaff. Giggle and laugh in one. It made me laugh. And due to the werewolf nature of the message, I'm gonna have to say Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Bride is a love story between a vampire, Misery Lark, and a werewolf named Lo Moreland. I love this book. This was my first Ali Hazelwood book. It's a romance, of course. It was fabulous. Now, it's getting like so much hype, which as it should, it's great. It wasn't the most like damning, can't live another day without thinking about it feeling that I have received from other books, but I think I gave this 4 stars. It was awesome. Our main character, Misery, is very funny. Lo is very sexy and amazing. If you like romance, or if you like contemporary romance and you want to slowly work your way into fantastical romance, this would be a great starting point. Thank you, Ali Hazelwood, for teaching me things about the anatomy of furries that I could have lived the rest of my life without knowing. That's Bride by Ali Hazelwood. The next message, which we are analyzing in depth today, is from a young man named Morris, which says, if I sign up to Disney Plus, do I get access to this princess? Ha ha ha. What if I ran into oncoming traffic? Every day I wake up and I get messages like this and I just think to myself, do men genuinely think that us as women read these messages and we go, oh my god, for the cringe in which I feel all over my body after that message, as well as the Disney reference, I'm going to say The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. If you watched my February wrap up, you know that I really didn't like this book. It's about this basically billionaire who owns like a Disney World. What is it called? Dreamland or something? The whole book is cringe to me. The 2 main characters, Zara and Rowan, cringe, which breaks my heart because I have a soft spot for Rowans. Cringe. Cringing, wanna peel my skin off. I didn't feel any genuine connection between these two whatsoever, just like how I felt with that message with that gentleman Morris that I got on Hinge. If you like contemporary romance and billionaire romances, I'm sure this would tickle your fancy. Not me. Will not be reading the rest of the books. So, there you go. Okay, now this one I want to apologize because it's very off-putting. This put me off. This one, I don't even want to say it out loud. On my profile it says that I'm an actor, and so this young man said, Max, I hope you don't act when I'm... And I'll let you read the rest of that. The first thing I want to say about that is, who are you? Second of all, Who do you think I am? Third of all, where's your mom?
Fourth of all, where's your dad?
Fifth of all, I have a sneaky feeling that you've never spoken to a woman ever. Just because this message filled me with so much rage, and it was just so aggressive and just so ignorant. I almost want to say Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. let me explain. Our main character here is one of the most hateable people I've ever encountered in my entire life. She insists upon herself. She thinks that other people give a shit about what she has to say when they don't. So she steals other people's things to make herself feel more important. If you don't know this book, I loved this book. I think I actually gave it like a 3.5 or 4 stars. But what an interesting premise. It's basically about these two authors who were kind of rivals going to school together. And one of them is super, super successful and the other one not so much. And she's always been jealous of her. And our main character basically steals her unfinished transcript and takes credit for her unreleased book. And it's so good. And it's so interesting being in her head. It almost reminds me of Ballad and Songbirds and Snakes because you're in the antagonist's head the whole time. So you're like, who thinks like that? And that's why I wanted to connect it to that Hinge message. Who thinks like that? And in what world is it okay for you to say that to me? That's Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. Someone named Raid, perhaps? And he says, your aura, it feels like divine energy. I'd steal you off this app, but then I'd be labeled a felon. Perhaps I can start by taking you out instead. It would be worth it. Once again, that's a lot of cringe entering my body. At the end of the day, it's a sweet message. I do think that this gentleman would, I hesitate to say treat me well because, well, that's never happened to me before. But it's a nice message. And he took the time to really write that out. Did I give him a chance? No, I did not. I'm scared of intimacy. And I have a fearful avoidant attachment style. But I'm gonna say Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas because Rowan is a gentle giant. He needs to be strong when he needs to be strong, but he feels Aylin's aura and they connect on a much deeper level and they fall in love and it's fabulous. So if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series, you do it. This one is one of my favorite books of all time. This is the third one in the series when Rowan is introduced. It's so good. I can't say much about it because it is the third book in the series, so I don't want to spoil anything for y'all. But if you haven't read Throne of Glass, read Throne of Glass. It changed my life. It's amazing. I think about it every day, okay? And I think about Rowan at least once per hour. More. Air of Fire, Sarah J. Maas. Okay, the next one is from this guy named Dan. And he says, Liv, might I say, you genuinely look far, far, far. That's 3 fars. Too wholesome / hot to be wasting your time on this awful app. And Dan, did you ever hit that nail right on the head, brother? Very true, very kind words. Seems like a genuine guy. And for that, I'm going to say Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Our boy Hunt Athalar, he's such a wholesome boy. Now, do I like Bryce? No, I don't. I love Hunt though, and I think that he could do better. But that's kind of a hot take. I respect anyone else's opinions on Bryce. I just personally don't really like her all that much. And Hunt is a wholesome gentleman. Okay, he's wholesome. And if you haven't read the Crescent City series, it's interesting. It's not my favorite Sarah J. Maas series, but basically it's an urban fantasy about Bryce Quinlan, who's half human, half fae. She has to end up being guarded by a member of the 33rd, which is basically like Crescent City's police force, by a fallen angel named Hunt Athalar. And I'm sure you can guess what happens next. Hunt, wholesome king. Love him, super nice. He should be with a nice girl. Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first one in the series, and I think this is my favorite one in the series. Okay, now this next one might be my favorite, okay? You can't make this shit up. This is a line right out of The Office. So this guy named Peyton, all the context you need to know is that in this photo, you can't see it, but I have like a shirt and like a bathing suit underneath, and I'm like smiling with like my bathing suit and a shirt. And he says, I see a pair of them in front of you that definitely need to be handled. ... Hi, name's Peyton. Now I can only assume he was talking about my chesticle area. And him wrapping it up with the hi, my name's Peyton with the smiley face, that's just like, just wraps up this message in a beautiful little bow. And even though this is like a gross message, and I didn't match with him, obviously, if it came from a saucy boy who I'm obsessed with, Jazz Zayden Ryerson, then I would enjoy it. It just feels like a Zayden thing to say. He's young and unsexy, and he's goofy, and he's saucy, and he says saucy things to Violet a lot. Iron Flame, this is the second one. Fourth Wing, loved Fourth Wing. Iron Flame was a little boring. Violet annoyed the living shit out of me in this one, but Zayden, I really like Zayden. I think he's so cute, and he's very interesting. And if you haven't read the first Fourth Wing, it's basically about Violet Sorengale, who gets shipped off to this war college by her mother, who was the general, when she had been training to be a scribe, and she thought she was gonna die up at this war college where she learns how to ride dragons. But lo and behold, she doesn't, and she meets Zayden Ryerson. Can you guess if it's her sworn enemy's son? Correct. One thing about Zayden, he's got the bants. He has the banter. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros and Fourth Wing. Because Zayden is a saucy little cheeky shadow. Okay? Za with a X. So that will be all the recommendations today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of goofy. Please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Let me know if you like any of these books, or if you are looking to read any of these books, if you have read any of these books, and what your thoughts are on them. Also, please let me know any videos that you want me to do in the future. I may be busy next week, so I don't know if I'll be able to do like a whole vlogging situation next week, because I will be moving into my place in London. I want to thank you guys so much if you got to the end of the video. I wish you guys a wonderful day, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. Okay, I'll see you later.